Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a pivotal moment in every parent's life, a moment when the dynamic between them and their children begins to shift. After years of love, guidance, and sacrifice, you suddenly find yourself questioning the respect you once had. Perhaps your children ignore your advice, dismiss your opinions, or even speak down to you. It's painful, frustrating, and at times overwhelming. But here's the truth. Anger and frustration will not bring back the respect you deserve. Instead, there's a more powerful, effective way to regain the respect without conflict, without resentment, and without losing your dignity. Let's explore how you can shift the way you respond to your children, transforming how they view you and restoring the respect that may have been lost. The first key shift is to stop chasing their approval. As parents, it's easy to fall into the trap of constantly trying to please your children. Saying yes when you want to say no, putting their needs ahead of your own, hoping that doing enough will make them appreciate you more. But here's a painful reality. The more you chase their approval, the less they will respect you. Self-respect is what earns respect, not self-sacrifice. When you constantly bend to their will, you teach them that your feelings are secondary. You become the person they take for granted. The first step to regaining respect is setting boundaries, saying no when necessary, and speaking your mind, even if it isn't what they want to hear. When you show respect for yourself, they'll begin to see you in a new light. Second, never engage in arguments to regain their respect. Arguing is rarely productive. It only confirms their belief that they have power over you. You'll never convince someone to respect you through fighting for it. True respect is earned through the way you carry yourself, the dignity with which you respond to their challenges, and the grace you show in tough situations. Instead of fighting, simply lead by example. Show them what respect looks like by the way you treat yourself. Speak with confidence and maintain your integrity. Third, withdraw your emotional dependence. This is a hard but necessary lesson. The more you depend on your children for validation and affection or attention, the more pressure you place on them. They might begin to feel burdened and pull away. People, even your own children, respect emotional independence. By focusing on your own happiness, hobbies, and fulfillment, you stop relying on them for emotional validation, and this shift in energy makes them appreciate and respect your presence more. The fourth action is to set boundaries and enforce them. If your children treat you with disrespect, it's often because you've allowed it. Boundaries are not about cutting them off or creating conflict, but about calmly deciding what behaviors are unacceptable. When you set and enforce these boundaries, you show them that you value yourself. They will begin to see you as someone who deserves respect because you demand it, not in an aggressive way, but through quiet strength and self-respect. The fifth action is to stop giving without appreciation. Parents often give their time, energy, and support, even when it goes unnoticed or unappreciated. But when you give without receiving any gratitude or respect in return, you begin to lose your value in their eyes. By stepping back and teaching them that your generosity has limits, you will start to see a change. When they realize your time and efforts are not something they're entitled to, they will begin to value them more. Finally, build a life outside of your children. It's natural to devote your life to your children, especially as they grow up. But if you've made them the center of your world, they may begin to see you as someone with nothing else going on. People respect those who have their own purpose, their own interests, and their own joy. When you show them that you are living a full life, whether through new hobbies, friendships, or personal growth, you show them that your happiness doesn't depend on them, and in turn, they will respect you more. Respect is not something you can demand. It's something you inspire through the way you carry yourself, set boundaries, and live your life. When your children treat you with less respect, don't waste your energy getting angry. Instead, shift your approach. Stop chasing their approval. Lead by example. Be emotionally independent. Set firm boundaries. Stop giving without appreciation. And most importantly, build a life outside of that. When you do this, you will find that your children will begin to see you differently. Not as someone waiting for their attention, but as someone who commands respect, simply by being who you are. And in time, that respect will return to you. Not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. When it comes to regaining respect from your children, the key lies in developing and maintaining self-respect. This principle is the cornerstone of healthy, balanced relationships, and it's especially crucial in a parent-child dynamic that has evolved over time. As a parent, You've likely dedicated a significant portion of your life to raising your children, sacrificing your own desires, time, and needs in order to ensure they had everything they needed. Over the years, this deep sense of devotion may have caused you to put their well-being above your own, perhaps even at the cost of your self-respect. It's easy to fall into the trap of constantly trying to please them, often saying yes when you mean no, neglecting your own opinions or desires, and compromising your personal values in hopes of keeping the peace. However, this approach often backfires, and over time your children may begin to take you for granted, seeing you as someone who will always accommodate their needs while neglecting your own. The reality is that respect is not earned through endless sacrifice, but through self-respect. If you consistently diminish your own needs, desires, and boundaries in an attempt to gain approval, your children will begin to see you not as someone to be respected, but as someone to be relied upon to serve their needs. While it might feel like an act of love or devotion, constantly putting them first without considering your own well-being teaches them that your feelings and desires are secondary. This can lead them to believe that your needs don't matter as much as theirs, which in turn diminishes the respect they have for you. They may start viewing you as someone whose approval can be taken for granted, or worse, someone they can manipulate to meet their own wants. Self-respect is the crucial antidote to this problem. It begins with recognizing that your worth as a person is not solely defined by your role as a parent, nor should it be dependent on how well you meet the expectations of others, including your children. It means setting boundaries, saying no when necessary, and standing firm in your convictions, even if your children don't like it. When you value your own time, energy, and emotions, you teach your children to do the same. Instead of bending over backward to accommodate their every request or demand, you create a sense of balance in the relationship, where both your needs and theirs are equally acknowledged and respected. A powerful way to regain respect is to simply stop acting as though you need. When you stop chasing their approval, you shift the power dynamic. You no longer allow yourself to be in the position where you are constantly seeking their validation, and in doing so you become more emotionally self-sufficient. This doesn't mean that you stop loving your children, or that you become distant. Rather, it means that you learn to value yourself independent of their responses. When you stop seeking their approval, you start sending a message that you are a person of worth regardless of how they treat you. This act of self-validation speaks volumes more than any words or actions to demand respect. Take, for example, the case of a mother who always put her children's needs first, constantly adjusting her own schedule to accommodate them, even when it meant sacrificing her own well-being. She would drop everything to help them, even when they didn't ask for it, and always kept her opinions to herself for fear of rocking the boat. As time passed, her children began to see her not as a figure of authority, or someone to be respected, but as someone whose voice didn't matter. They took her for granted and respect for her faded, but when she shifted her approach, when she started setting clear boundaries and spoke up for herself, things began to change. She didn't make demands for respect, but instead she began to teach her children that her time, her thoughts, and her feelings were valuable. By doing so, her children slowly started to respect her again. Self-respect in its essence is about treating yourself with the same dignity and value that you would expect from others. It requires you to acknowledge your own worth and act in alignment with it, even if it means stepping back and reevaluating the role you play in your children's lives. It doesn't mean becoming self-centered or abandoning your responsibilities as a parent. Rather, it means that you've learned to prioritize your own needs and well-being as much as you prioritize theirs. When you respect yourself in this way, your children will begin to follow suit, not out of obligation, but because they will start to see you as a person who commands respect. By valuing yourself and setting boundaries, you teach your children valuable lessons that go beyond the immediate issue of respect. They learn about the importance of self-worth, of standing firm in their beliefs, and of treating others with dignity. They witness firsthand the power of self-respect and the positive impact it has on relationships. They will come to understand that respect is not something that can be demanded through forceful arguments or manipulation, but something that is earned through consistent actions and mutual recognition of each other's worth. Over time, as you model these behaviors, they will start to see you not just as a parent, but as an individual worthy of respect in your own right. In conclusion, regaining respect from your children is not about demanding it or fighting for it, but about making subtle, yet powerful shifts in the way you live and interact. It's about valuing yourself enough to set boundaries, stop chasing their approval, and lead by example. When you show respect for yourself, when you stop depending on their validation, and when you start building a life outside of them, you'll naturally inspire the respect you deserve. These changes are not easy, and they require patience, but they will transform the dynamic between you and your children, restoring not only your sense of self-worth, but the deep, meaningful respect that is so essential to any relationship. Thank you for being here today. We would love to hear from you. Share one thing you've learned and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your thoughts and comments inspire us to continue creating meaningful content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support allows us to keep bringing you valuable content. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.